debated in the press, some of you might know, over whether it is a collection of short stories or in fact a novel, or is it both? Can it be both? I'll leave that topic of discussion with you. You can talk amongst yourselves after the show. This is called Clean or Dirty. Lena hates to drive in the big city. She barely tolerates the relative straight line to and from my place. Over the years, she's all but gone subliminal with the route in her head. She depends upon its unchanging intersections, lights, one-way streets, and parking opportunities for mental structure. Any deviation etches trouble lines across her forehead. Nevertheless, I dropped the notion. So, when you're heading out, I'll just catch a ride to the gym. Dad, she frowns. I'm not going all the way over there. What? It's not that far off course. No. Okay, maybe just a little part of the way. Lena's forehead de-wrinkles slightly. But despite the fact that she herself is a resident of a hectic city, albeit a smaller one than mine, and notwithstanding her fine motor skills and the splendid caliber of her car, I can see in her face and hear by the silence-enhanced ticking of the hall clock that the ban on my getting a lift remains. But I cannot surrender. Oh, for crying out loud, you can find your way easy. Dad, it's more complicated than that. Don't be silly. I don't want to get lost. You can't get lost. It's so simple. You just drop me off. You take a right, another right, go 3 blocks, take a left, and there you are. I'm already confused. Oh, okay, I'll just jump out at the corner. From there you turn right, go straight all the way, and you don't have to turn again until you get to the freeway. We sit at the breakfast table where we have just eaten her most oft-requested breakfast, rolled pancakes. She never misses an opportunity when visiting me or my mother to have them cooked for her. I cannot remember if I have ever explained to her my theory of the ancestral significance in her preference for them. They are a thicker kind of crepe, I want to explain, a hearty, agrarian-class, sugar-bearing relative to the elegant French item you can buy on any street corner in Paris. They represent in flour and egg and butter the blunter genealogy of our Teutonic strain, the brooding tempers, obstinacy, hulky or husky physiques, and entrenched philosophies. It would be sweet, I think now, the morning of her departure from a holiday break, the last few minutes of a rare togetherness, for us to be speaking of this. But I can tell by the quiet growing between us that the subject for her has turned more serious than food or heritage. I speak to her as she stares ahead. But you're such a good driver. I don't care. It's just so obnoxious around here. I thought you didn't mind it so much. Sometimes, but mostly I hate it. You hate it. It's so cold. It's too fast and ugly. It bugs me. Well, in that case, I feel doubly honored you're visiting me. I mean, I hate to think you have to endure the urban terrors just to do that. Daddy, don't exaggerate. You're just bugging me more. The thing is, we'd already had this conversation the evening before, strolling on our way to see a movie. Her words came as we stepped around a panhandle and girded our eardrums against the blare of an ambulance. I hate this place! She had to call it out, nearly attracting attention. Nevertheless, I didn't quite hear her. What? You hate this pace? Hate this place! Huh. The noise had died enough for us to speak in civil tones. Define this place. Here. Here. Here? You mean Earth? British Columbia? Do you mean figuratively, your general phase of life, state of mind? Or just Granville and Broadway? This city. Oh, well, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, look at this neighborhood. The choicest bistros, espresso joints, live theater, bars with jazz playing in them, the West Side's best $2 pizza slice, cheap kitchen supplies, a big box bookstore, a greasy spoon that serves chow mein flavored burgers and burger flavored chow mein. What more could you want? I don't know. She rolled her eyes, and I knew I'd gone too far and too wild, naming off things I liked and she wasn't interested in. It's just not home. Well, of course it isn't. Not yours. Not for more than 20 years. Not since you were 1.5. I certainly wished it felt at least a little like home to her. It is this yearning that weighs in my mind as we finish our crepes. It is a thing of which we have scantly spoken down the visitation decades, through all the concentrated holiday celebrations, letters and calls and emails, and meticulously planned and executed summer fun times. For me, there would always be a permanent obligation, unstated but nonetheless mandatory, as real as the sugar and cinnamon left dusted upon our plates and the coffee puddles thickening at the bottoms of our cups. Thus I offer, are you feeling okay about everything? Daddy, that's a strange question. I'm sorry, but you seem kind of testy. It's still morning. I look at the clock, 10 after 11. Oh, that's right. Both Lena and her mother are notorious post-waking crab heads. Although the hour is respectively close to noon, I know I'm pushing the non-morning person boundary. Is your stuff all packed? Almost. Lena stands, plate in hand. Does the dishwasher have dirty or clean? Never mind, I'll get it later. Okay. I'll get my workout stuff. Her sigh is audible. As we bustle about, there is too the detectable stoniness, her subtle, muffled bristling. I work through the fear in my scalp, collect my gym bag, and don the remedial exercise shoes designed to stave off an advancing case of pronation. We trundle out to the sidewalk and stand before her metallic blue roadster, parked perfectly before my townhouse door on the car-crowded street. We'd worked well together the day before, scouting the spot, me invigilating as a slow-packing family strapped in 2 toddlers and ponderously swung their minivan into traffic. Then standing pylon duty while Lena fetched the car, which we'd had to park blocks away, and steered it home amidst the desperate Saturday shopping and theater parkers. We pause at the curb. I note that we are both admiring the parking spot. Then we catch each other doing it, and our mutual shamelessness becomes gravitational. We step close to each other, swinging our bags and smiling. Hey, that was some teamwork, huh? If you say so, Dad. What? You think getting a prime spot in front of my place is some kind of casual offering? Like it happens every day? Sweetheart, we can go weeks without a space here. And there we were stumbling on it as simple as a prize at the bottom of a Cracker Jack box. It makes me always want to be religious. It's positively provident. Lena rolls her eyes, and once again I know I've ventured too far from normalcy for her taste. She tenders her keychain and chirps the door is unlocked. I fight myself to remain silent at the outrage of creating needless noise in an already dinning cityscape. Besides, my admonitions to her have long been grudgingly recorded and always rebuffed. We open our respective sides and load the back seat. The car is shiny and spotless. We take our seats. From my leather sinecure, I admire the luminous curves from the undulant hood forward, down and away. Lena starts the engine and lets it run. Her hand and arm seem independent. palming a caress over the gear shift and letting the emergency brake free in a deliberate, economical operation. Everything in her movements testifies to her attachment to this machine. Her eyes protectively scan the rear and side view mirrors, gauging traffic. I calculate Lena's life in terms of her driving. She's owned this car for 6 years, 1/4 her total age. She has always been a responsible child, her mother parenting brilliantly to impart comportment and duty. Thus, her eagerness to get a driver's license while still a teen was not for a moment opposed by her parents. We ooze out of the treasured spot. Lena calmly performs the left turn against speeding town-bound columns of SUVs, and we cruise, her hands firmly upon the wheel. My mind is in neutral, taking the imperative to enjoy every motorized second, each expiring centimeter of transportation in the custody of my precious only child. I become conscious of the deep cushioned seat beneath me. It is all-encompassing and warm. I avoid watching my darling drive because in this kind of mood, I am known to get misty. Lena loathes it when I get misty. I do not wish to introduce distaste of any sort into this perfection of a moment. But then, in only 6 blocks, it is over. Lena pulls her sleek auto snugly to the curb and we turn to each other. Bye, daughter. So long, father. We giggle away our sarcasm and hug one-armed. Her use of father is exclusive to times when she needs me to remember that our life together is largely artifice, a function more of brunches, shopping, summer rentals, and freeway travel than lineage. I use daughter when I want to bring her as close as she was when she was an infant, despite our mutual knowledge that such sentiment is folly and has been ever since the day her mom packed a puffing Volkswagen down the driveway of a stifling urban house and headed away. History, love, family, Lena in her child's seat, all going away. I nearly choke at how little time there is and plant a firm peck on her cheek. Then I grab my bag and get out. She takes the corner like a pro, watching in all directions except mine. And in a second I am alone and walking. The only thing I'm thankful for is the perfect timing of the walk sign, which allows me to leave the scene directly. I'm a wreck and glad to be striding along the sidewalk and sighting my objective 3 blocks farther on. Walking thankfully increases blood circulation. I feel the opening of interior passageways, the creation of intrinsic warmth into some kind of emotional recovery. I quicken my pace and note immediately the tinctures of pain in my knees when I step too heavily. The twinges slightly deter me from thinking, but in the end I must. There were visits much like this one. The payments always made. The times one of us got sick and missed a turn, always forgiven. Long and reasonable conversations with her mother, fun enough but touching. The everyday morning of knowing each other, lost. I ease back and let the scientific shoes pay out the strain through foot and ankle and tibia and femur and all the acute little connections behind the kneecaps. Still, once in a while there is a pang in my step, reminding me of the cost. I know I deserve this. For a second, a gasp closes my throat. But I let the walking do me good, breathing and swinging my arms. And I cannot put aside the fact that Lena has lived in a comfortable city all her life, driven habitually her smug little car and its calm streams, tooled about within an evincing familiarity. When I reach the gym, I do not have dewy eyes. Things have been so amicable.